A rolling golem gathers no rust.
We're going to talk about support matchups for Blitzcrank. The first one we're going to look at is Braum. So Braum has his shield, has the stun, and also his ult. He's actually a pretty good counter to you as Blitzcrank, as he easily has access to go in and out of team fights with his leap. He's able to jump on over your AD carry, and also he's really tanky, so it's generally a bad idea for you to pull him. So I would never pick Blitzcrank into a Braum. Janna, Lulu, and Nami are all in one kind of category right here. So Janna, even though she has shields, Lulu also has shields, Nami has heals and knockups. All these champions are really squishy. Thus, if you hit a pull on them or the AD carry, you could still win yourself the team fight. Or as opposed to if you look at Braum, if you pull with the Braum, you potentially don't win the trade. Keep going down the list. Sona again is also in that set of squishy champions that you can easily pull and win the team fight regardless of which one you pull. Soraka the same way. Taric is a hit or miss. You generally don't see Tarics, but at the same time, pulling a Taric is kind of pointless unless you know you're going to get the kill. Thresh is also a hit or miss lane. So Thresh can be a counter pick, and Thresh cannot be a counter pick. In the way that a Thresh, if he's very aggressive and he actually gets himself in bad situations, you could pull him in a turret, you could pull him further back and help your AD carry do extra damage to him while he's trying to reposition himself. But at the same time, he can easily lock down your AD carry if you end up pulling him in the wrong area. He also can lock down your AD carry if you ever pull his AD carry, which makes it hard for you to trade. Zillion again is one of those squishy supports that will not particularly counter Blitzcrank. Now there's two champions on here for whatever reason do not consider it as support. One of them is Morgana. Morgana is a hard counter to you. And the reason that is the dark binding is one, being that it's a longer range than your hook. And the second reason is mainly her black shield. Black shield makes it so that you will probably never get a hook as long as the Morgana is relatively competent. If she can black shield every single one of your hooks, you've basically been redeemed as useless. You cannot knock up, you cannot hook, and your silence, you're not going to do much damage because your ultimate can actually do a good amount of burst. Also, if you hook in a Morgana, she could potentially win the fight for their team by ulting you two and getting you two in a horrible position. So this is, you never pick a Blitzcrank into a Morgana, and if you actually see a Blitzcrank on the other team, Morgana is the first thing you should probably pick up. The only other one that's a hard counter is also Leona. And Leona again is a hit or miss, same way as Thresh is. If she's very aggressive and you can wait on her initiates, you can stop their AD carry from doing damage, but they still win out on trades. So if you can hook their AD carry in this matchup, you might have a potential to win, but Leona is going to immediately lock down your AD carry as well. So trades are going to be hard. Also, if she gets aggressive on your AD carry and goes in, because she doesn't have a choice unlike the Thresh, you can pull her into turret as long as you stay further back. But that's potentially a losing trade, because now you're going to have to play super defensive instead of playing a little more aggressive, which is what you want to try to do as Blitzcrank. You want to try and win the lane, to pressure the lane, to get yourself some kills or get yourself at least an advantage in creep score or anything like that. Next, we're going to look at AD carries versus Blitzcrank and whether or not you should pick Blitzcrank into AD carries. Now, most, if not all, AD carries aren't particularly counters to Blitzcrank. because Blitzcrank can still win the matchup regardless, as long as he's able to hit his hooks or at least get in on them. Now, certain champions though do have easy escapes or ways to get away from your hook and away from your damage. Caitlyn, Corki, Ezreal, Graves, Lucian, Vayne, and Tristana all have a jump, as well as Sivir has her spell shield to stop you from hooking her. So Sivir is probably the only person on this list that I would absolutely not pick Blitzcrank into. If she is really good at hitting her spell shields, you are never going to be able to hit a hook on her. Unless you are running up to her, being able to run up to her and actually deal damage to her and knock her up and do whatever. Everyone else, Ashe, Draven, Jinx, Kog'Maw, Misfortune Quinn, Twitch, Urgot, and Varus all do not have easy escapes. So they are the champions that you generally want to pick Blitzcrank into, because it's the only thing they can use to get away, and the only thing they can use to prevent your hooks is to flash or to dodge it. And if you get them in corners, you get them in the spaces that you know that they cannot dodge from, you are going to win every single trade, every single match as Blitzcrank. So to recap, make sure you pick Blitzcrank into champions, mainly AD carries that have low mobility and low escapes, that you can easily get a hook off of and force them to use summoner skills and get that early advantage. And also make sure that you pick Blitzcrank into champions that are support that are generally very squishy and not easily able to trade with you and your AD carry, so that you can get, it doesn't matter who you hook in the lane as long as you get one of the two priorities and you take that advantage, because what Blitzcrank feeds off of is that early advantage. I'm about to show you some easy tips when playing Blitzcrank, especially at early levels. First things first, especially when you're on the red side, a good thing to do is always to try and go into the Dragon Pit and get that first hook, because even the worst case scenario, you waste a little bit of mana that you're easily going to get back anyway by the time you actually hit lane. Best case scenario, you either get first blood or waste one of their flashes. Now everyone generally always goes into this bush right here. So what you want to do is you want to stay and get yourself into the Dragon Pit, and you wait. You won't want to ward it because you have the chance of them seeing the ward, and you also want to make sure your team knows what they're doing. So notice that all my team's starting to come over here, and I'm waiting here for the hook. I waited enough time that they would be able to get into the bush and hopefully just throw a random hook random in that bush. And right there, I got the Janna. Now, she could have either flashed, or in this case, she ran forward and she just died, which got our team first blood. Again, worst case scenario is you waste a little bit of mana, and by the time I get back to laning phase, that 100 mana is going to come back anyway, since I have coin, or even if you win anything else. Now, the Ezreal got the first blood. He has advantage, and we have the advantage in lane, and nothing's wasted in this. It's only a minute in the game. Everybody can get back, get whatever they need, and we can get on with the game. Alright, so next thing I'm going to teach you is laning. So early levels, obviously Blitzcrank doesn't have a whole lot besides his hook. Getting a hook at level 1 is kind of dangerous in the fact that you're not really going to be able to follow up with it much. Now we're against a very passive lane with Janna, but at the same time we can easily work our advantages against a Caitlyn and Janna as Ezreal and Blitzcrank once we hit level 2. So they're trying to push out the lane, get the early levels on us. And what you want to do as Blitzcrank is to put the pressure on. So one thing is either stay in a bush to make it so that he has to stay on one side of the map so Ezreal can easily hit his Qs on the other side, or you have to constantly go back and forth between the creeps and the wave to make sure that you can you always keep the Caitlyn on the move. So here we're about to hit level 2, and what I want to do is go right in. They haven't hit level 2 yet, and I want to get a hook. Right there, Janna again exposed herself pretty easily. Ezreal kind of missed his E right there, but that's alright. Still have a cooldown gone from the Janna, and now we can get ready for the next hook. Again, what I want to do is cause pressure. Even though this is warded, they're still having to play on that side of the map. They still have to keep away from me and my hooks. Again, what I want to do is not throw needless hooks either. I always want to make sure that if I use my hook and use my mana, I want to make sure I can either get an advantage or get, hopefully, one of them to die. So here our jungler already killed their jungler, so we have no pressure on the map. And what I want to do is watch the creeps. So you see right there, I go back. I watch the creeps. I know perfectly well that Ezreal's about to kill that ranged creep, and there's 2 creeps right there, which the Caitlyn's trying to hide behind. So if I wait for that creep to die, and now the Caitlyn's exposed herself, what I can do is go right from where that creep is at and throw a hook. The other 2 creeps are not going to get in my way, and Caitlyn's an easy grab right there. Use my knockup, and we have all these ranged creeps to our advantage. I use the exhaust to hopefully get Ezreal to be able to get the kill, but unfortunately she flashed and eat away, and now she wasted both her cooldowns, and now she's an easy advantage for us. So even though I wasted exhaust, they still cannot they're never going to be able to capitalize on any advantage between us because they're Janna and a Caitlyn. Speed this up a bit. Again, I'm watching the creeps. These creeps are going to die soon. My hook is up in 3 seconds. What I want to do is try and get one of those 2 to waste a cooldown, or to be able to get a hook on one of those 2. Bam, right there. Again, I waited exactly for that range creep to die, where Caitlyn thought she was perfectly safe and got the hook on her and got her killed. So next thing I'm going to cover on is mainly hooking versus non-hooking. So what I want to cover is, here we have 3 people in mid. Caitlyn's all by herself. We notice that Xin Chao's over here fighting the other people. So she's easy game. I have Talisman, I have my W. I can easily catch up to her if need be. So what I want to do is either make her waste her E / flash, or by running up to her, I actually get her knocked in the air. So I run up to her, run at her, right here. Again, I could have hooked at any point in time up here, but that would have been dangerous, because if she flashed, if she, eat away, I would have wasted it. So I wait for it, and right there, she just wasted flash. Even if she E's right now, I know I can get right by that creep and immediately throw a hook. She could have potentially eat away at that point, but at that point I know I can hit this hook. Got the hook on her, and then let my team clean up the rest of the kills. Obviously ulting to make sure that she couldn't possibly get away. So we're gonna look at one more team fight around Dragon. At this point, we are obviously really far ahead. It's 35-18, so what we want to try to do is disrupt them from getting this Dragon. They have not gotten a Dragon yet, which means that's a decent power spike for them. Our Xin Chao's a little bit too low to really contest this that well, so what we want to try to do is disrupt them as much as possible to stop them from even getting this Dragon. Again, top's going to start pushing if we need to. Nasus is not here, and our Ezreal is slowly coming down. So the first priority target I want to get is this Janna. She's left herself wide open in this team fight, and me and Irelia can easily burst her down before she even gets a chance to do much of anything. So I run up to her immediately, knock her up, and I'll get her basically almost dead, such that Irelia can finish her off. So she's getting focused by their whole team. My priority target right here is the Caitlyn, and hopefully help as much as I can to get this Irelia out of here. Again, Xin Chao's making his way up, and Ezreal's still making his way down. So what I want to do is I run up to her, use my Talisman of Ascension, so she gets the extra movement speed, and start knocking up priority targets that can potentially see her. Right here, I look and I see Caitlyn's wide open compared to the other two teams. Again, she's my priority target. She's the one dealing the most damage out of the three of them. So what I do is I run back in and immediately hook her, because I know I can easily get that. Now I realize got an easy kill target, so does Sin. They immediately jump on her and kill her. Now the only thing left is this Jarvan and this Diana. Those two chase the Diana while I keep the Jarvan at bay. Mind you, I'm not gonna, obviously die for this. They get the Diana, and we win that team fight. Now they can't even take Dragon at all. So they lose that team spike. Zed's now back in the game. Ezreal's here full HP, and even though these two are low, they can easily take Dragon if they need to. I hope this video has been informative to you. If you like the video, go ahead and you can subscribe to my channel. I'll have other videos of potential champions. I also stream every day. My Twitch will be in the description. If you want to leave any feedback or any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. Thank you for listening.